So I'll take the next topic, less applied. It's more taking the opportunity of exchanging of what would be the opportunities with big data to come for our job, for organization, and so. But first, I'd like to say that Pascal is sorry not to be able to come here today and do the presentation, but I know that she says hi to all of you. And I'll try to give as much respect as I can and good representation of the good work she has done for today. So, title of the presentation is Big Data is not only a technical change. Indeed, today I'd like to address the opportunities that we see in the big data framework. And first, I'd like to quote someone I like very much, who is called Atul Gawande. He has written a very good book called The Checklist Manifesto. And here he says that there are two types of errors. It's the error of ignorance, which are quite self-explanatory, and the errors due to ineptitude. And errors of ineptitude is the fact that we don't use properly the data we know or the things we know, or that the things have become so complex that the human spirit cannot really understand it. And I think this is what I see as an opportunity, is the fact that with big data and all the technologies around and all the statistical things around, we make a change to bring ineptitude to knowledge. And this needs something more than just technical things, and that's what I will go through now. The idea exactly is, okay, what is big data? I think we've heard a lot for today. The next would be, okay, what can we do with it? And I think what we can do is a transformation. Transformation as a department, as a company, as a whole, think about how we use data. The aim would be to be a data-driven organization. But the idea is, okay, what does it mean? It means bringing objectivity into subjectivity. I mean, we've all been in different rooms, in different panels, in different discussions, where you see experts giving advices and directions, and then it's based on subjectivity, but as soon as you bring data into the topic, maybe the opinion change, maybe the things in direction and discussion change, and you can bring new elements into the discussion. But to be a data-driven organization, and you see here a very nice map of how do you get big data into an organization, and you go from unaware to aware, and then many other steps that lead you to be a data-driven firm, and this needs a transformation. You have here the kind of funny picture where you have a data-driven stuff, but as you can see, it's on a chair, and this chair has three pillars, which are the people, the processes, and the tools. And what I will go now is through exactly the three of these steps in a quite fast fashion, so we have time for discussion, so we can then see what it means. Interestingly, here a little picture that Pascal has put here is, okay, which strategy have proved successful in promoting a data-driven structure? And I think it's quite interesting. The first one is the one that maybe everyone would like to have, which is a top-down information. So you have big boss deciding, okay, we do big data, we become a big data-driven organization, and everyone follows. Unfortunately, as you can see, this is only helping in 49% of the cases. What is more interesting is the fact that the other one is the promotion of data sharing practices, which I think we all value very much. So it's also a way to bring this into companies, is that to have big data and data-driven organization is to go through also data sharing more practically. And then after you can see the others, but you can see that recruitment of additional data analysts is not helping that much because it's the last one. So big data is a technical change, but what are the best tools for your needs? So you all know this big data landscape, which you can see evolution from 2012 to 2016 if you go on internet, and you will see that maybe in 2012 it was a small picture, and now 2016 is getting bigger and bigger. I'm sure you can find some of the people you can see in the booth around there, if you look long enough. But the idea is, okay, what does it mean? And if you go for a big data strategy, I think the question is exactly this. What do I do with all the available applications, with all the available statistical methodologies, the tools? How do I get this sorted? I think there's an interesting publication that has been done in the 10th of March 2016 from someone from Airbus. So I try to translate, so it's not exactly the same word as in French, but I try to do the best I can. And I think this is, for me, what we feel is the right solution. In fact, there is no one-fits-all. The idea is that you need to assemble the blocks. For each and every type of question, for each and every type of user case you may have into your big data strategy, in your big data pool, you need to find the right tool and the right implemented case. I think we've seen this in previous slide before, that really says that you need to find the right tool for each of your case. There is no one only solution. So that's the tool. But with the tool, we need a process. And here, I'm not going to go through all of this, but it's a bit summary of what I just said. You need a process related to the big data information, big data strategy. You have some solution which people say, okay, we install all the technical application, all the software, all the big server, and then they say, okay, now what do we do with it? Definitely wrong approach. The right approach is, okay, what are the business needs? What are the questions at stake? What my colleague needs to answer in terms of questions? And this is how you start. So you build around user case, and then the technology follow your user case. Don't need to put 1 petabyte of things if you need only 1 terabyte. And you don't need a tool that will make an hexa-core processor or anything if you need less than that. Okay, so that's the idea. Define a process that allow you also to be agile and to adapt to the question at stake. What we summarize here is the process is, okay, you need what we call an information strategy. And what is an information strategy? This is exactly what will lead your direction into big data in terms of processes. It means, okay, what do I do with the metadata? Okay, how do you organize, how do I collect all the data I've got in my organization? Regarding the question at stake, what is the process for me to make sure I cover all the data I need and that are available? How do I check for the quality of the data? I think we've discussed about this earlier. What is the life cycle of the data? I mean, if I have a question, I try to answer. What is the life cycle of the data I found? Should I find another time slot, t plus x, where I check again if there is nothing new on outside or even inside the company? But it's also more difficult question to address, which are related to security. If you think about cloud stuff and so on, I mean, each and every organization or university, I'm sure, have the same question. How do we make sure that the data we use, the data we do, are still protected and that what we're doing is in a secured environment? What about data privacy? I mean, you cannot just put and use everything you want and then just give names about statement and leave it there. So you need to anonymize data or certain things. And then you've got ethics. I mean, I strongly believe, and I'm sure you're all in the same direction, that statisticians are big defendants of ethics. And this is our job to make sure that everything we do is always in the right interpretation level and that we are in the right direction. And in the big data momentum, I think it's clear that this role is even more important. Because one of the risks of big data, when you start confronting all type of data, is getting a message out that has absolutely no sense. And exactly this brings me to the next step of the presentation, which is about people. I see 2 types of evolution into the profiles we have, hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills meaning that if you think about how we are maybe used to work, is you've got someone specialized in statistical and mathematics, someone who's really the business person, the computer scientist, and the data manager. And I try to give a name, but maybe it's not the best one, the chimera, because it's used to kill potentially a lot of people. But I say of the nice kind, is that it means that we also often talk about very difficulties to find statisticians, for example, who have 5 legs. You know, we say they all need to have all type of capabilities, and I think with big data we go even in the same direction, but even more, that there need to be a mix of, yes, stat and mathematical knowledge, a mix of business knowledge, a mix of data management knowledge, and also about computer science knowledge. So this is what I think people call a data scientist in a way. But I think what we can see is that you can have different type of data scientists, which you may agree or not agree are just named differently depending on the main background they represent. If you think about information manager, maybe the data management component will be the most appropriate or the biggest one. If you think about data analyst, of course, it will be the statistical mathematic world. If you think about business analyst, then business acumen, then it's mostly the business analyst that will be predominant. The idea, anyhow, is that all of these profiles need to give a chance also for different opportunities, for directions, for statisticians, or for data manager, or for business-oriented people. So in this kind of very quick summary, we see the opportunity to be able to have a new scope of job for statisticians also, depending on the need. So not only management and expertise, but also cross changes according to the knowledge they get on the business, to knowledge they get in data management and computer science. So really a possibility to grow into different branches of different organizations. Soft skills. So I have always a huge love for soft skills, It's something that I always fight for. I think statisticians, basically today, need to have also not only hard skills but soft skills. And we're talking about, and I try to match all the colors, is that you need to be assertive, this we know. You need to be able to defend your expertise with the right words. You need to be business sensitive, so you need to understand your business. Otherwise, if you just compile figures or anything, you are not able to communicate properly. You need to be agile because you have all type of source of data. You need to make sure how you go through your collection of data and so. Maybe for the computer science, a bit geeky. So meaning that indeed, if you look at the world today, if you are not a bit geeky, you have more difficulties to be able to discuss with people. I mean, I've even seen some articles being published that for those who don't know about numeric world, chances of finding a job in the next 10 years is decreased by at least 60%. So I think this is just showing the trend of the start it has made. And last but not least, you have 3 pillars: tools, process, and people. But in this, we pushed the reflection a bit further, which is okay, but for which kind of organization? I mean, you need an organization to carry your big data strategy. And here I will not go into detail because this is still data at work, and I think it depends also on the company. But the idea or the organization is that we feel you have different models. Is that in a summary, you've got centralized and decentralized. Centralized means you've got everyone doing application or doing big data in one department. Another one, which is decentralized, you put statistician, data manager in each and every business unit that can cover any type of topics. Or, and that's maybe the reason why I quote this in the last one, is a federated model where you go in between these two extreme solutions. So meaning how you think about your organization to make sure that your statistical added value, your big data strategy is really valued at the most of its possibilities, making really the link with business people and business being not only business people marketing, but business, every type of people you may be working with. It could be clinician, preclinical, or whatever. But for this, each of these operating models, you will need to exactly define your process, what is your financing, the customer value, so meaning what do you want to be seen as, what are the responsibilities of the different people, accountabilities, and so on. So at the end, data-driven organization, it's a long journey, but with a strategy to build. And I put here just 5 of the challenges of building a big data strategy. And this is funny enough, but really much taken on the startup philosophy, which is experiment, learn, and improve, and as fast as you can, so you don't spend too much money in solution you don't want to keep. And as I said before, it's 3 pillars of transformation: people, processes, and tools. But then these pillars are supposed to support an organization that will help you being a data-driven organization. And that would be all for me.